Roll call?
Okay, Mayor Westergaard.
Yep.
Boltman.
Yep.
Moeller.
Yes.
Priest.
Here.
Steinkamp.
Here. I don't believe there's any public forum. We'll go to consent agenda.
Hey, just one thing on the consent agenda I forgot to include on the actual physical agenda is the approval of the financial report. It's in the packet, but we would approve the financial report.
Make a motion, we approve consent agenda.
Roll call.
Boltman.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Steinkamp.
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Okay, we'll have the budget requests. Looks like, Eric, you can go.
Yep. Okay.
Library.
I'd like to thank the mayor and the city council for allowing us a few minutes to explain our budget request increase. The library's board of trustees would like to thank you for your support and submit to you an increase requesting of 2.03% over last year's budget. We continue to meet the criteria to be in the top third of tier of libraries in Iowa. This entitles us to the maximum amount of the Enrich Iowa funds. We do average over 900 library visits per month. We have several programs which are still ongoing and very successful, which is the summer reading program and our very popular Monday After School program. There's also a couple of other things going on this past year. The library hosts an art class put on by Linda Drilling for both adults and youth, and we also have an adult coloring class. And those are two new things this past year that have been very, very popular with the adults in town. The library continues to comply with the state requirements for certification by reading uncirculated books and by completing an inventory of our collection. One of our primary goals is to encourage and enable people to read. To do this, we offer many services such as e-books, DVDs, large print books, newspapers, periodicals, and other sorts of information. We also offer internet access, which we have a Wi-Fi available to anybody that's outside there or in the building. They might be able to sit out on that bench or sit outside in the cars and use our Wi-Fi access all the time. So thank you for your support of our library. We are an important community service that helps make you a great community. And thank you again from the Lakeview Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
The library does a good job. Who is our housing trust fund?
Me.
You. There you go.
If you just take a look, page 7, starts page 7 in your packet. Region 12 operates this housing trust fund, and what it does is assist low-income and very low-income people with different types of housing programs. So every year they get some grant money. I think it's federal or state grant money, and again this year they were awarded the $235,872 worth of grant money. It requires a 25% local match. And they have always went to all of the counties, county governments, and have been able to meet match requirements that way, and they will continue to do that, and each of the counties contributes $3,000. They need to come up with their 25% match, so they're asking the communities within their region to also provide some amount of match, and the requested amount is for $1,000. Just as we were talking about this with the city managers group with Region 12, I said you got to show people what it is that they're doing with the money and where it is utilized, and that's the thing on page 9, and it shows how many projects have been done in each of the communities. And so from 14 to 16, you see that there was 2 projects done in Lakeview, and it invested $11,000 into the housing stock of Lakeview somehow. So again, the request to be for $1,000
What's the time frame on this?
during next fiscal year.
So there's no hurry.
It's just a budget request again,
Yeah,
so.
okay. Okay, Park Board. Well,
Okay, good evening. I'm Brett Muggenberg. I'm here on behalf of Lakeview Park Board to request funds for Emerald Ash Borer preparation plan. As we all know, the Emerald Ash Borer is an exotic tree pest which is a threat to the city's 283 public ash trees. With each passing year, its presence continues to be confirmed in new counties. Since these announcements have been somewhat commonplace, we no longer hear or read much about it in the news or media, but it's important to remember that it is the problem still exists, it has not gone away. The Emerald Ash Borer preparation plan recommended by the Lakeview Park Board is a proactive plan which remains unaltered from previous years. It is based on 2 management tools. 1, the reduction of ash trees, the ash tree population to a manageable, healthy stand, and 2, the chemical treatment with systemic insecticide of healthy trees that are to remain standing. Our Emerald Ash Borer preparation plan contains total estimated costs for tree removal and tree treatment. Currently, the costs for removal of an average size ash tree are estimated at about $500 to $600. This average size tree can vary greatly depending on the size of the tree, of course. Current estimated costs for chemically treating an average size tree run at $100 to $150. That chemical treatment must be performed once every 2 years with the current insecticides that are out there. Taking into account the number of public ash trees, our plan expects the combination of tree removal and chemical treatment to cost the city between $8,000 and $10,000 per year for a several-year period. To help spread out the costs, we again recommend the city to set aside a fund for ash tree treatment and removal to help us respond quickly when emerald ash borer is confirmed in the area. Currently, the closest emerald ash borer infestation, confirmed infestation that is roughly 80 miles away in Boone, Iowa. And I included a map in the packet there. You'll see it. It has kind of all the confirmed infestations in Iowa and where those circles are. Just kind of to give you a reference for how this progress is going. 3 years ago, there was no confirmed areas west of I-80. As you can see, there's several now, so it's creeping closer each passing year. The good news is that the chemical treatment of ash trees does not need to begin until emerald ash borer is confirmed within a 15-mile radius of Lakeview. This gives us time to prepare for the arrival of emerald ash borer. With appropriate budgeting and planning, we believe Lakeview can be prepared to meet the threat of emerald ash borer to disperse the costs associated with it over the years to come. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Brent. Thanks, Brent. Who's gonna do the little hometown pride?
Brent.
Brent?
Yep, I am. Next one.
And community club also.
Oh,
I get that one.
okay.
Okay, on behalf of the Hometown Pride Committee and Park Board, as you know, we have been planning for the construction of a splash pad at Speaker Park. This project was first mentioned in a 2015 community-wide survey where we received support among 75% of respondents. A splash pad can provide numerous benefits to Lakeview, including additional recreation activity for our youngest residents, alternative water play that is more economical than a pool or aquatic center, a unique attraction for campers and other guests who regularly visit our community. This past October, the City Council approved the location of the splash pad in Speaker Park in the area north of the Pier 25 playland. The projected cost of a splash pad includes $45,110 in equipment. With plumbing, electrical work, and concrete installation, the total cost for the project is estimated at $120,000. To pay for this project, the committee has been planning fundraising activities. These include the Community Attraction and Tourism Grant from the Region 12 of Council of Governments, Iowa Network Services Charity Grant, corporate grants, cash raised through community-based fundraisers, pledges, and in-kind donations from private citizens. To boost our fundraising activity, the committee is requesting $35,000 in cash, in kind, or a combination of both from the City Council. Currently, our committee has raised $10,866 raised in cash and pledges. That amount is. In closing, our committee would like to express our gratitude for your past support as we work towards what we believe will be a great asset for our community.
Thank you, Brent. Connie?
Ready for me? I'm asking on behalf of LVCC. We have a total this year of $9,000, which it's all advertising, or for the most part it's all advertising. It's up a couple hundred from last year, which is just the increase in what the Western Iowa Tourism advertising costs. And then half of it also is half of the cost of the two coordinators, both myself and Jennifer. That's the extent of it.
Thank you, Connie.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a little bit on that, community club one, just that, so yeah, the total would be $9,000. We have financed that historically out of hotel motel tax. And I just want to show you real quickly, it's on page 15, what we utilized hotel motel tax revenues for. And when that was passed, we said you were going to use it for a couple things, and we'd use it for debt service to help pay for the cost of providing the infrastructure to the hotel site, and then also use things for community development. So those are the and marketing, community development and marketing, and those were those uses that are there as far as we paid the community club out of it. We do also have an agreement with the Lakeview Motel that they're basically reimbursed their taxes in a similar way to how we use Boulder's taxes to pay that debt service. So that was just an equity thing between the two hotels. But as of the end of this upcoming year, it would be anticipated that there would have a balance about $66,000, which would be available then for community development projects.
You said, and we could use this funds to help the community club.
Yeah, basically we pay debt service and we pay the community club, or the budget for the community club out of that, and that largely is it. We paid, I think, SETD dues out of that and something like that too, But that was basically it.
Okay.
Okay, ordinance 480 is our second reading. Need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Moeller,
Yes.
Boltman,
Yes.
Stanky.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 481 is our second reading of the garbage rates. We need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Moeller,
Yes.
Stanky.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Waltman.
Yes.
And 1707 is our tax abatement.
It's a prior approval for Jim and Trudy Whitmack for their new home on North State Road.
We need a motion to
So
approve.
moved.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Moeller,
Yes.
Stanky.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Waltman.
Yes.
Kay, you have information on the copier lease?
I do. Our current copier lease expired in February of this year. And so for the last month and a half, we've been taking proposals from office supply companies on new copy machines, or a lease of a new copy machine, which would be a 5-year lease. So in the packet, there's a spreadsheet of the top 3 that we were looking at, plus the numbers for our current copy machine. We actually looked at several models from each company, but this is kind of what we've narrowed it down to. In looking through the numbers and in looking through the machines themselves, we are recommending to go with Access out of Fort Dodge and the Sharp 4070. Their price might be a little higher than the Konica to start with, but as you can see, it's a better machine. And the Konica copy costs are quite a bit higher than the Access copy cost. So if you look at your bottom line for total monthly cost, you'll see it's actually cheaper in the long run to go with the Konica, or to go with the Sharp. And you'll see clear on the right, our current copy costs are quite a bit higher because it's an older machine than what we would get out of a new lease.
What's this lease give you? Do they perform maintenance on it? and
Yes,
fix
all
it?
maintenance and all supplies, except for paper and staples.
Okay.
So all the toner and all the maintenance.
Okay.
And
So
then, of
how,
course, it comes with the setup and the networking for the 4 computers that use it.
so what they do have a rep that comes by when you need stuff, or how does that work?
Yeah, actually, you call in and they guarantee you a 4-hour same-day tech to come out and fix it. They say right now they're averaging 2.3 hours, but they do guarantee you a 4-hour.
That's pretty common now, isn't it?
Yeah, although one of the companies we did quote wouldn't guarantee anything because they're more in Nebraska and South Dakota, and so their techs are farther away. And they said they would do their best, but then they were one of the higher ones, so we really didn't look at them.
And you like it?
We have not seen it yet in person. This company has offered to bring it to us, hook everything up at no cost, let us try it for 5 days. If we like it, we'll keep it and start the lease. If we don't like it, they will take it away at no cost.
So is this the first one or the second one?
The second one,
The access,
yeah, from Access.
I'll make a motion, we accept the access bid.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Just, I guess, just clarification on that, Dave. That we're gonna try this thing out first. If we don't like it,
Oh, definitely.
we're gonna
Right.
come back with something else. So if we can have that to accept the access
Yes.
proposal, subject to trial, or however that's gonna be.
Roll call.
All right. Waltman,
Yes.
Moeller,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Kay.
All right.
Okay, Bill's gonna talk to us about the underground.
Pull up a chair. Haven't met yet. I feel so much smarter when I sit next to Hank or something.
You can feel the electricity.
I can say it, exactly. I guess I'll go over the project that's on page 22, I think. I've said this before, I'm trying to get the whole town, the people live in the urban area, to get all the lines buried. The number 5 is Bob and Joyce Moore's house, it's right up by on the highway by the, buried their tapping, because right now it cuts across to another person's private property, and this way here it'll go straight in on their property. Number 9 is Stuart Bones, he's right across from Heartland Trucking. And then, if you remember last year, we came from Sparky's and stopped at Heartland Trucking. Well, now I propose to continue on there from from Heartland Trucking down to TCT Trucking. That's the number 19. Number 15, 16, 25, and 26 is all series lighting. It's up in Kay's neighborhood, Jeff Ross, down to Lanny Staples. That whole circle area up the design circle is under series lighting. We've had a lot of problems with it.
Does that mean you're gonna take out that one pole? That's,
Taking that box out of your backyard.
oh, you can take that one pole with you.
But that's that area right there. 24 is from the old substation behind the bait shop that goes over to McClure Street by Dean Rains. That's a main loop feed we use to tie the east and west city together. 31 is down by Bob Nansteel's and Bob Kelly's. Comes from Bob Kelly's transformer, and then from the signalizers that go across the street to Bob Nansteel's. And the final one is from Marianne Monroe's transformer to the end of the alley. If you see my main map, this is getting rid of all the old open concentric wire, just as always.
Staying like close to budget, yeah. That's kind of what we had there.
We put on 80,000, but when I was talking to Scott, we have saw cut payment and remove and replace concrete. I don't look for anything there, but we just put a number in there, so if something happens, you've got a bid number there. And that brings the total to $79,767. And I bumped it up, so I'm looking at hopefully to be even cheaper than that.
How long is the project like that take?
It'll take a 6-man crew probably a month.
What a
So
perfect
Sean
time to
do
move
that.
that pole.
Show them do that, so.
We'll put out for bids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more time, Dave.
Didn't hear it.
I'd sure like to see that pole.
Well, you can put an extra one on my block if you want to, it's so dark.
All we need to do is move it,
Yeah, there you go. You don't have
so
to
I
lay
don't
it
run
down.
into it.
Move it down.
So we're gonna need a motion to send out bids if they want, or?
Yeah, that's basically where we'd be, is if you wanted to bid this thing, that we would. Let's take a look real quick at page 20. This goes through some of the things as far as what timeline's gonna be. That we would take bids on this with bids due on February 16th. So we'd get bids out right away, and then they'd have about a month to get their bid ready. And receive them on the 16th, and then consider them at the city council meeting after that. Completion date's proposed to be August 1st, so it'd be a first half of the summer type of a project.
This is staying away from all of our street stuff this summer. You won't be anywhere close to the streets we're
No,
doing.
we got all those jobs done. I talked to Scott, I just asked the council if they could, if you bid that Lakeshore Drive, if you could do it at a different time than our contractors in town, because we just don't have the manpower to do both jobs at the same time. I don't know how you can arrange that, but, because last summer we spent months out at East End, moving wire in the boxes and everything.
Terry, you moved to put that out for bid, right?
Yeah.
Second.
Roll call?
Okay, Reese,
Yes.
Boltman,
Yes.
Stankham. Yes. Moller.
Yes.
Okay, we'll go on to the truck. This is replaces that 10-year-old one that Jeff drives.
How many, what do you think will respond to that? How many bids do you think will get?
I think we only had 2 last time.
We had 2 last time. And I tell you what, Sean's been real good with us, but we have trouble getting people to bid. And we had this company from Wisconsin bid us again, and it kind of looked like a courtesy bid or a, high bid where they wanted to make some money if they were gonna get it.
I think we sent out 4 or 5 last. at
Oh,
least
hell,
5.
we have sent out
At least-
17 packets, in the
Yeah.
past, and struggled to get any of them returned.
Because it's a small project in their eyes.
I suppose.
It is a small project in contractor size. But, they're going after that huge job that takes, a year and, I talked to contractors, they have a hard time keeping employees too. It is.
Okay, on to the truck. The 550, that's the one that'll pull the trailer, Bill?
Right, Jeff and, well, this was even back when Brian was here, we have a 350 now, single axle, and it's just, we're overloading that truck with our rock trailer, our pole trailer's 15,000 pounds, our rock trailer's, I think, 12,000, but it just, they would like to go to a larger body truck to handle that weight.
So you've got bids on that already?
It's on the page 24 trade itself,
Page 3.
and they're apples to apples bid, so.
Yeah, really.
so-
Well, then I think we ought to keep it within the county if we
I
can.
agree.
Yeah, I agree.
You won't bid it again if you
No,
do that.
no. We've had this
No.
before.
Really?
Yeah.
He was done that once before, and
Oh.
I had to beg him to give me a price.
We go to Storm Lake next time.
Well, what are you gonna do?
I mean, it's,
I'm just saying, if you don't take his, a little bit, he won't bid it again.
But we can get it anywhere we want, just take that chance. Whatever the council would like to do.
I guess I'm always in favor of trying to do business at home. And if we could do that, so be it. And if we have to go elsewhere to get bids, then we go elsewhere. But
Creating a standard bill, not taking the low bid, is that?
that's like, what is it, $80?
15.
75, I thought it was, you
Yeah,
contracted Scott.
95 bucks.
Oh, it was 95? Oh, it says, okay. Mine says what?
But we've done this in the past, I can tell you, to get local. We've done it.
We have chosen to
Local.
to stay within the county in the past when the bids have been pretty close. And, no, we have made that decision. Just know that, Carol won't be very happy about it.
Maybe you should bid loader.
Yes, well, see, that's the deal.
Yeah, you.
I would suggest if you're gonna do that, just get the price from the county and.
So Dave, you wanted a motion to buy it from Beckman?
Yeah, I'll make that a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Boltman,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Stankham,
Yes.
Moller.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
I just go over a couple other things with the
Yep,
council,
you
if I
bet.
could, John. Cameron's got his Class A CDL now, so he can drive all of our equipment and trailers. He's completed his second year of his journeyman program, so he's getting right on that. Our new substation metering is done by a cell phone, and they gave me the passwords, and I can see it with mine wherever I want to see the load. Anything I want to know, I can see right there wherever I'm standing. So that's really nice. I've wanted that for a long time, and they just gave it to us because it's there anyway. So they just gave me access to that. And the WAPA mean for the attachment C, I recommended to WAPA and mean to keep it the way it is, and they both, after 4 months, agreed to it. So everything's staying the same under that contract.
That's good.
You gotta have people out there fight for certain
What
things.
made them decide to give it up now? I mean,
They were wrong.
I accept that, just took them a long,
It
took them a while to
when
figure.
you deal with the federal government, it takes a long time to get things done. But it's status quo, and look at that way through the end of the 5-year contract with me, and everything stays the same. So that's where I'll be them going tomorrow, so.
Great.
Drive safe.
Yeah.
Long drive, yep. All right, thanks.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, Scott, you're gonna tell us about the Lake Shore Drive?
Yeah, Lon's out hunting, so he's gone for a few days, but,
What they hunting for now? I'm sorry.
pardon me?
What are they hunting for now?
Well, I don't know if they were hunting coyotes. Lon said he'd hunt for whatever. They're out like Wyoming or
Oh.
Montana.
I seen somebody hunting this morning with their equipment loading it up, you know, and I just wonder what the hell they're hunting for right now.
No, Lon wanted to hunt for something that moved.
You could still get a few more deer.
If it moves, I'm shooting.
There you go. Well, so let's take a look at this project. This is doing the south half of Lake Shore Drive. This is completely reconstructing that. And there's several pages here that I just want to talk through with you. And so Lon and his guys, they worked to come up with a plan of how we could replace that and address the drainage concerns down there. There's a lot of drainage concerns down there. So this first page, the one with all of the names on it, just shows the width of the pavement to be replaced and that type of stuff. So generally, this would replace everything from the intersection of the Lake Street and go replace everything up until it abuts the new pavement that was put in a couple years ago, right in back of Mayor's house. Okay, this would replace all of that. 7 inches thick. Okay. So that replaces the pavement. The next page, though, shows all of the other concrete work. It's actually primarily on private property. That if we're going to redo this street project, redo the street, you're also having to look at redoing all of these parking areas, approaches to garages, because the grade of the street changes so much. Okay, so every one of those boxes then would be replacing it, and Lon's come up with all of the quantities on that, and know that there's a lot of concerns with that too, and especially he had some real concerns over by Carolyn Church's house, and then real concern at Chris Wall's house. He said that it may actually, some of the concrete may actually go underneath the siding of his house, and had some real concern with how they might address that. Next page is just a short one, but this shows the drainage there. It doesn't show the concept, but this would have a new storm sewer intake there. And again, that's kind of about in the south property line of the mayor. And that would be where a storm drain would go. And then the concept is that the entire road would drain to the west. So it would not have a crown on it. It would be flat, but it would be tipped to the west for drainage.
Scott, just on behalf of Corn Belt, we used existing duct that was there, so we didn't tear that up when we went through the fiber. I do believe that we do not have a lot of depth there.
Mhm.
Also the natural gas ones are deep. So are we gonna be looking at the same situation that we experienced at Sunset?
Similar, that there could certainly be the opportunity for some utility conflict through there.
So is this, then the cement, new cement will be about, what, half of it this year then?
The south part, this would propose to do the south part.
Right.
Doesn't do anything for the north half of it yet at all. This would only do the south part.
Yeah, that's what,
But if we can flip to the next page after that little drainage one and look at the left-hand margin. This is a sketch that shows the curbing. And there's a lot of curbing that's involved with this, and it actually ends up being a little wall. The wall ends up being about 2 feet tall, 8 feet wide, and you see the little sketch of it over on the left-hand margin. With the idea there being that it has a spread footing underneath it, so you're not going as deep as what you would need to otherwise be doing. The street actually sits on top of this spread footing. So the idea is to not go as deep through there, but any of the dark lines in there would be this larger wall. And there's a lot of wall there, substantial wall there right now, too. So this would basically replace it in that area.
So, do we know how deep the utilities are and stuff?
Not necessarily. You know, we have,
I can tell you that the electric and the fiber is not that deep in there.
and that's why, partly why the placement of that drain was where it is. That's actually south of a transformer box. So at least you're not having to cross all of those lines of the transformer box was Lon's rationale for putting things there. Could this require the relocation of some utilities? It could. Do we know for sure? You don't know.
It's like remodeling an old house, you just don't know what you're gonna get into.
No, I tell you, break this.
And it's always gonna be more.
Just make sure everybody's clear that the site or the street ended at my property line only because the house across the street got rebuilt. We fixed the drain.
Only because you're the mayor?
It wasn't put because of me, it was put
What is
because of the new
proposed
house.
Start time of this project.
Unknown.
Unknown.
This is just discussion right now to see if the council is interested in proceeding. Because I want to show you on page 33. This is the financial end of things. And because we'll look at all of our street expenses in big picture about the 2017 street project, Sunset Drive, and then any other work, and this would include that Lakeshore Drive one. See the cost estimate there for Lakeshore Drive, and hopefully this is high, but it's $100,000, and there is some substantial amount of work to be done, with all of that curbing through there. Now, things did change here a little bit today, changed for the better. I received another paid special assessment, so just from the bottom you see about 4 lines up where it said paid special assessments. That new total is now $52,000, and so in total we'd be short about $20,000 yet. If you said, yep, I want to do this Lakeshore Drive project, and it's going to cost $100,000, we're about $20,000 short. You'd be looking at sales tax money, most likely, as an alternative financing
so
source
that'll
for
go
that.
out for bids, is that what you?
Yeah. What I would propose is that if we want to do this, really all that we would do is take these plans that we have now and coordinate a neighborhood meeting with all of the landowners or the homeowners there before we would go any further. You want them to really know what's going on. It certainly impacts them for a lot of their year. Plus, we would be asking them, that basically we're going to be doing a lot of work on private land.
But there's been a problem with drainage down there, and
Oh, yeah.
this is to benefit all those
Oh,
people.
it's a huge benefit for them, absolutely.
It's bad enough they've been up here more than once, I believe.
Well, that's it, we've had this on the table here.
Yeah.
for at least 2 years,
I'd say,
that I know of.
I'd say set up a meeting with them, go from there on and see what the actual,
And I imagine they'll put more pressure being Lake Shore got done. On the other side, you know,
Could be.
Sunset. Drive.
Sunset, I mean, yeah, so that got done, so I would say they might put a little more pressure on there.
Maybe, I guess, we always have an answer for that Sunset Drive paid for themselves.
That's right.
Well, but
Special
they-
assessment.
maybe that's what they wanna, you know.
Both, unfortunately, Bill's gone, but I guess I would look at, we also want to work with the utilities here, and we need a clear, this time, a clear recommendation of how much elevation is gonna change on this.
They shot that the other day,
We went
didn't they?
from Sunset Drive to being 16 inches, all of a sudden to 32.
Yeah.
Sure. And
This,
we have some shots, Bill, and
Yeah.
if you can sit down with Lon and kind of go through shots on it. Because of course, the elevation doesn't change dramatically because you're meeting up with that existing pavement.
Correct.
We're just gonna tip it on the west side a little
Same
bit.
problem again.
We're hoping not.
but you're a problem solver, I can tell.
Did you buy stock in Black Velvet?
I sampled a few.
I'm gonna now.
Yeah, all right.
All right, thanks.
You'll line that up?
We will set up a community, neighborhood meeting.
Make sure everybody's invited.
Yeah. Okay, we have, one person went for the building inspector.
Yeah. Kyle Leonard has applied for building inspector position. I met with Kyle. He certainly seems very interested, and Kyle is well
How's he
able to
gonna-
handle the
How's he
Yeah.
gonna do that with you?
after hours. So all of the paperwork is done through email, and then he would just be doing his inspections after hours.
Would that still be the same rate that you paid now?
Yeah.
Like, what was it, something?
It's
per-
yeah,
$40
it's $40 per application.
Okay, we'll need a motion to hire
So moved.
Mr. Lenners.
I'll second. I'll second.
Roll call.
Okay, Moeller,
Yes.
Stankin,
Yes.
Waltman,
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
And we have one applicant for the P and Z
Yeah.
board.
Linda Drilling, and this would fill the unexpired term of Darrell A. Scheid. It goes till June 30th of 2020.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Moeller,
Yes.
Waltman.
Yes.
Stankin. Reese.
Yes.
Okay, and I know you want to review this accountant's report.
Sure. You probably want to review it.
Sure, I was waiting for it.
You see that anticipation on your
This
face?
my copy?
Sure.
It's like reading a book, you always go to the end first.
Yeah, that-
Well, you do go to the end.
The end's not that far.
one side is one of the-
Pages.
Because it's, well, going to be about 5 pages from the back, I would guess. So, and it is page number 8. So, again, the idea here is that this is an annual exam, and it's more of an exam of your process. And they're taking a look, some at the finances, and they're doing checks on again, the process about how things are done. But it's not a financial audit, okay? They didn't come audit the books. It's what the state calls agreed upon procedures. Okay? So let's go through these recommendations that are on page 8. And the first one deals with segregation of duties. We hear segregation of duties every time when we're audited or through these agreed upon procedures. Because there's only 2 of us in the office, and we do basically have some specialties that we take care of, like Kate takes care of the receivables, and she really does take care of virtually all of the receivables, and I take care of most of the payroll stuff, and a lot of times there's not a easy opportunity for working back and forth to look at the segregation of duties and double checks. So some of the things that were suggested there deal with the utilization of elected officials. And we're trying to get the mayor involved in that a little bit as far as maybe picking up bank statements and to give a cursory view of some of that information. So we'll continue to try to work on some of those things. And then also periodically doing these random cross-checks. And we've, truthfully, we tried some of them last year and worked for a little while and then it got dropped. And it's just, it would be making that a matter of priority in order to know that happens.
Sounds like we need to do it, because this is the second time we wrote it up.
Yeah, and it's, like I say, it's an annual ding because we're really limited in the amount of segregation that we can do with only 2 people.
Yeah, but if we,
We can always add somebody, like they said.
yeah, change the process. If you don't change the process, it'll consider that'll bring more attention to us than anything else, so. I think what you thought you dropped, I think you just gotta make that a priority. Like I said, the only ones you're protected is UK, basically.
Sure,
I didn't
yeah.
say that,
Oh, yeah.
but that's what it's about.
It just looks like, as they say in here, better transparency.
Mm-hmm.
When as far as taking all these recommendations that they have here, that's all being part of being more transparent, and those are all good suggestions.
Sure.
That sounds like. And we, like Whitey said, we do need to make that a priority.
On B, talking about those city expenses, they had found a couple of expenses that were approved by the council for expenditure and they're paid out of one fund. And then what we did is change the fund and paid them out of something different. What they were to Hancock and Hallett's. And like they had been approved to be paid out of road use tax fund, and we changed that to a project fund. When we turned around and wrote the check. So it's they like I say they were approved expenses. We just changed the fund from which they came out of. That's what that note is about. And that was something new. We'd never seen that before, because it certainly doesn't happen. If we would notice that something was misclassified, we would change that though. Bank reconciliations. Their point here is that they're looking for a detailed listing of outstanding items. We run a cash report, and the computer does so much stuff for us anymore. It just tells you what the outstanding items are, and you can plug in that total of the outstanding items, and you need to go in further into the system to come up with what the detail is. Otherwise, you just plug in what the outstanding items are, and it balances. They just want to make sure that the outstanding list that you're printing is the same as what you're using for the amount off the cash report. Yes, you got to go in there and print another report in order for that to happen. City council meeting reports in D. That we give you the monthly cash report, and we want to make sure that we always give you that month-end compared to budget report. And that was a recommendation last time too. And then she came and checked to make sure that happened, and we've been real good about that. But then we forgot a month, and then she saw this month that we hadn't done, so it's a recommendation again. But what we're talking about here, and this in your council packet. In this case, it's on page 41, 42, where for each one of the funds, it's just giving you an update of where you are on budgeted items. So it's pretty easy that you can take a look at the police and fire, and then you go over, and if nothing else, you can see the percent expended, and you know that you're half of the way through the year, so you're pretty close on police and fire. It's just a little running view about where you are as far as sitting to budget numbers.
So this is just more consistency with me making sure that that's being done.
Yes, yep.
So far, everything's procedural, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The letter E, though, talks about payroll tax deposits. There'd been a change along the way about timing of filing payroll tax deposits. Our payroll date is a Wednesday, and payroll taxes need to be filed then by Friday. Okay? So, and I have done this several times, and it turns around, you gotta file them right away. But I've filed 2 or 3 times on Friday, okay? And they can't withdraw money until Monday, and they've considered that delinquent,
Yeah.
okay? Now, that had happened as the auditor was reviewing. It happened one other time since then, and we were penalized for it. And I asked them to waive penalty on it and everything. They would not waive penalty because it had happened previously. Penalty's $284. So anyway, that had been paid.
So that's just another procedure too, that you just have to make sure.
Yeah, I mean,
you
we
make it right
we
with the
pay
payment.
on, we pay payroll on Wednesday and turn around and pay the taxes on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
Business transactions, they have to record any of the transactions of affiliated people. And in this case, you can see, we had a large transaction with Jerry, but it had been bid, and everything's fine on that, and then the other ones are generally small. That you can have business transactions with people with whom you have some sort of business relationship, up to $2,500. You know, if it's over $2,500, it needs to be competitively bid. And the last one on page 10 talks about city council meeting notices. And of course, we post city council agendas always at least 24 hours in advance. This note says, post them, write on them what time you've posted them, and keep that in a binder so that you can always go back and find out when you've posted them. And we're always real good about posting them in a timely manner. They just need to keep them in a binder as far as what time they were posted.
Sounds like you got some procedural issues you gotta push through.
Yeah, yes, I've been working on the agenda stuff already.
I suppose most of it gets done with the computer anyway, right?
Well, that's just it. I mean, it can be so easy with the computer.
I mean,
But sometimes you
put
gotta
it in
take the next
mail,
couple
You know they're gonna
steps.
get there on time.
I guess, but,
Anyway, I mean, you
oh,
can't
on
get
the
anything
taxes
there in
and
2
stuff,
days
yeah. Yeah,
Anymore. Now it takes 5 or 6 days to get 7, to get it there. You know, really.
true. Yeah, that's true.
And again, you know, I'd like to see you make these a priority so we don't see them again next time.
I would
And-
too.
Like we see
And-
every year, you know.
And like you said,
And we
it's
could,
taking
we
that
could certainly
second
make those
step.
improvements, Dave, but I'm not gonna tell you that, especially that segregation of duties, we can never meet the legal requirement of segregation of duties. It will be there year to year to year, because there's only 2 people.
Well, you know, maybe we should look at maybe another elected official like the mayor,
Mhm.
you know.
And we can get the mayor involved.
Being more involved in.
A little bit
in
more on that.
More, in that process, and we'll give them an extra $10 a month to do that,
Sweet.
you know.
I just thought more of an attaboy.
Okay, no, I agree, but, you know, I think that's really important, you know, to show, the transparency and.
Sure.
Like
Yeah,
they
no, I
mentioned,
certainly agree with you.
But the segregation, we've had that since, hell, back when I was on the council, we had that same issue every time.
It's
just
tough
no way.
But
when you don't have
it
a
sounds
lot of
like it's a
staff,
fixable thing,
Some things.
You know, it's
if we get.
it's kind of addressable to where it's not, that you can make some improvements to be better. It won't be fixed. You know, the accounting standard on segregation of duties hard to match, you know. That's lots of times having a couple people do the work, and
Checks and balances.
It's really bad if you got a town that has one person.
sure, you know.
They get gig too.
Yeah, but, yeah, so you hear about all of the embezzlement and stuff and you hear about that more and more from these
Yeah.
small towns now. Well, this is why, all the small towns gotta have this done now. And this had changed, I don't know, let's say 5 years ago, that they started to get involved with the process like this, because a lot of small towns never got audited. And now at least they come up like once every 4 years or something like that. Their name comes around in the auditor, state auditor might come looking at you. So we do ours every year because our budget is large enough that it dictates that we have one of these every year. Whereas like Sac City, their budget must be, no, their population was a little larger, over 2,000. And then they're subject to audit every year instead of these agreed upon procedures.
Nope, something to work on.
Yeah. Have a motion to receive the report.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Voltman,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Stankin.
Yes.
Moller.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna advertise for summer employees
And
again.
let's take a look at that list. And the list would be basically, I think, what we've done in the past. We're not proposing any changes necessarily. I'm on page 4. 4 campground attendants. And base wage on that yet is still $8. As we continue to hire a lot of the folks back, they historically have gotten a 25-cent an hour increase over the year. So not very many of them make $8 an hour. You know, a lot of them make $9 and $10 an hour. One mini golf and concession helper. We tried to hire a person last year and never really did. And we had a campground attendant help out with the mini golf cleaning. We really want to try to get somebody on board who can be devoted to do that, because that basically is, say it's an hour and a half, 2 hours every day, and they come down and clean off the mini golf course, and then they devote some of their time then to basically taking care of our gardens around town, and they may be uptown weeding the bump outs, that type of stuff. One summer parks worker, and this is just oftentimes a high school or college age person. And then 2 utility floaters, and we'll be at $11 on utility floaters. And last year, Cameron was a utility floater. My boy Jamie was a utility floater. I don't think either one of them is going to be back. And we will be on the hunt for a couple of new utility floaters, and they got to be 18 years old to be a utility floater, and that is problematic. We've had some recruitment issues with that too. I think both Eric and Mike, I know both Eric and Mike plan to return. They've both put in their applications again. And then one of work harvester operators, really similar to what we did this year. We hired several. And means that they didn't get lots of hours, and at least one of them would have loved to have been basically a full-time operator. But that when we had lots of operators, it just made for a lot of flexibility in how things scheduled. So I guess that's where I'd like to be as far as positions and then base wages. And if we could just run that past you, make sure we can go ahead and advertise for that then.
Need a motion on that?
Sure.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Steinkamp.
Yes.
Voltman.
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
You know anybody up to school, Dave, that we really need to be,
I could check with Amanda and
working on that? Those utility floater ones are tough because you got to be 18. But if there's some seniors, especially anybody who wants to be in any type of utility field would be great.
Right.
Or even if it's working with your hands, contracting, anything like that, I think that'd be great.
So you're still gonna have one for the park?
Yep, one for the parks.
Yeah. I don't know, Tanner, I don't know. We're hoping he does. I mean, need to talk to him. I told him I'd let him know when this happens, so.
The proposed due date is February 24th. Turn around and get people hired right away, and summer will be here before you know it.
Oh, yeah.
I hope so.
Okay, budget preparation.
Yeah, just going through some prep stuff for you. Start on page 34. This just really FYI about taxable valuations in Sac County, but ours is highlighted about what the taxable valuation of Lakeview is now. So for this upcoming budget year, $69.3 million. And that's just about a $2 million increase over what it was the previous years. So it's up 3.01% in total. And that just gives you a little comparison about the other communities in the county. You see that, we're, by a substantial margin now, we're the highest, we have the highest taxable valuation in the county. But using that taxable valuation amount, then we can look at the property tax analysis that's on the next page. And this analysis then is just prepared, assumes that we have the same total tax levy that we've now had for, I think, 10 years, at $8.45 per thousand. Okay? So what this does is goes through the assessed valuation and the taxable valuation. Let's just kind of walk down that. Because the assessed valuation, that's total valuation of everything at 100% values. You can see that for the current year it was $121 million. This upcoming budget year, $122.9 million. Taxable valuation, though, this year $67.3 million. It's $69.3 next year, largely because of that next number, that residential rollback. So for all the residential property, if they're assessed at 100%, in total 100%, and then what their taxable value, in this case it's 56.9% of that. The rollback went up by 1.3%. So you look at the previous page and said our valuation went up 3.1%. Rollback accounts for about 1.3% of that. Okay, so our total valuation growth wasn't that high. It has a lot to do with rollback. Commercial and industrial, that is now at 90%, and that's where that will remain. But this multifamily residential, that goes down 3.75% every year until it gets to be the same rollback as residential. So that one will continue to drop over time. And, so we got a few apartment complexes in town. Of course, that applies to that. The other big thing that multifamily applies to is the nursing home. So, and that is, a pretty substantial valuation. So that continues to roll back every year. Total tax levy is $8.45, and we just split that amongst the general fund, or the total amount of money that is needed for debt service. Now, the only debt service that we have is that street bond now. Okay? Take a look at, let's flip to page 37, because this is a proposal on that street bond. Remember this time last year, we had every intention that we were going to do the project during 16. We held a public hearing on issuing that $1 million debt, and then we levied taxes to start paying that back. Okay? Of course, we never did issue the debt yet, but we have received the taxes then for this year. It's about $88,000 worth of taxes. The proposal here would be that we would have another $88,000 worth of tax asking for this year. We do a lot of things with property taxes just out of the sake of consistency, that we're just consistent in the way that we levy taxes and it doesn't change. So this debt schedule that we're showing on page 37 then basically has us making a double principal payment in the first year. Okay? So it is using the money that we have, let's turn around and getting that paid right away. So let's take a look at the rest of our debts then, and that's on page 36. And this is showing that we would issue the streets general obligation at $1 million. We don't know what the interest rate's going to be. This just penciled it in there at 2.5, and it will likely be somewhere between 2 and 2.5. That is that street debt, though. That's the only one that we pay with property taxes. The remainder of these are all paid through some other manner. I put the big box around fire truck general obligation because that's the last time this budget year that we're budgeting is the last payment on that fire truck. And that's why the fire truck, or the fire department, I'm sure will be talking about having another fire truck here before too long. The Boulders TIF, you can see that as you follow that across, you can see the amount outstanding. At the end of June of this year, we'll have $102,000 outstanding, and we continue to pay that off. Next year, about $22,000. We pay for those things with different types of revenue. And for that Boulders one, we pay with hotel motel revenue and TIF revenue. So there's no traditional property taxes that go into that. The Sac Beach general obligation is again out there by Boulders, but that's the one that basically paid to have the street go from Boulders north to the highway. And that is largely paid through a special assessment with Boulders. They pay, you know, total debt service next year's $22,000. Their special assessment was about $15,000. And the remainder of that then is paid with TIF money then also. Then we have our revenue bonds. The electric revenue, in December of 2012, we issued $450,000. See that at the end of June this year, we'd still have $280,000, so that's outstanding. Would continue to pay off $45,000 a year. So, just that the electric, water, sewer debts, these are all paid only by the revenues to the utilities. So electric revenue debt is paid only by electric revenues. But as we think about future projects in the electric utility, just know that we have this bond out there that won't be paid off until June of 2023. Okay. Sewer, SRF, that's we're actually getting that baby whittled down. Last payment is in June of 2020, so that we can turn around and have another 20 years on the lagoons here shortly. And the water SRF, we continue to pay on that too, with the final payment date on that being June of 2021.
Water, that's a water tower, right?
That's the water plant. We're still paying on the water plant.
Oh, okay.
Okay. A little bit on the water tower, though. You see the smaller print there below the big graph. We got a couple of internal debts. We're paying ourselves back $10,000 a year. We pay from the sewer fund to the sales tax fund. Then when we purchased the sewer jetter, and we're down to the last couple payments on that, and then also down the last couple payments on the water tower, where we pay from the water utility to the electric improvement fund, I think, is where we borrowed that last money. And just the last little note there talks about our constitutional debt limit. Cities can have debt equal to 5% of their total assessed values. So 5% of our total would be $6.1 million, and as of 6/30 of 17, we would anticipate having $1.2 million. Of course, most of that is that street bond. So we'll be about 20% of our debt service limit. Doing fine. Page 38 is just a little recap on insurance. Another big cost for us as far as property and auto and liability insurance and work comp and then health insurance. So good news on our property coverage. There is no base or valuation increase that is expected for this year. Budgeted at 2%. That's just kind of just because, but we would anticipate no substantial change in the property or the auto or liability part of it. It's about $59,000 is what we pay. Work comp. We, for the past several years, had managed to whittle down our modification factor, and it was looking really good. Now, when we've had a couple of claims that are now 2 and 3 years old, and they're just hitting the books now. Okay, with the big one being, remember when Brian Sorensen did his arm bicep thing? You know, so that's a large claim that hits us this year. You're going to see our modification factor go up. Plus, work comp fees just go up equal to the amount of wage increase also. So this just ballparks then at a total of 15% work comp increase and be about $17,000 of work comp cost. And for the health insurance, the big box there is broke down between, it's actually 6 months at the current rate that we know about, and then would have 6 months at a proposed rate that we don't know about, but the proposed rate again is 20%, is what I used for a number just for budgeting purposes. So we've seen, of course, these increases over the past couple of years. We also have seen, this year especially, substantially higher utilization of partial self-funding. So that number is over $12,000 direct payments on partial self-funding this year too, so it's gone up. But in total, you can see what our current insurance costs are, about $202,000, and the budget for next year would propose to be about $247,000. Questions, comments?
That Camry, that one you sent around, is that, you have not bought that already?
No, we haven't done anything with it yet.
Oh.
We were discussing that as a budget item for next year.
Yeah.
The mayor's been doing a little bit of checking with Clyde on that about pricing. And
Well, I was thinking there too, we should, Jeremy or Corn Belt do that stuff,
maybe so.
you know?
Yeah. No, just the idea is that if we wanted to
Right.
go ahead and get it started here, we sure could. But
Another thing to keep in county or in town, we
Mhm.
can,
yeah, Clyde's a seasonal resident.
I know
Clyde
that.
Brenner. but-
I know.
A very generous one.
Yes.
Well, and that's okay, but still, it's nice to have a bid, I think.
Sure, yeah. No, that was just, I guess, more informational and see where we're at, but we could sure talk with Jeremy and see if he can do anything with us.
Yeah.
Of the city clerk report.
Yep, just a couple things. Well, we get together next Monday night for a planning session. I guess I didn't plan on going through, the traditional goal setting, and we'd prioritize projects and go through those worksheets like we've done in the past and stuff. I thought we'd just have project discussion. And because if you start to list all of the projects that we could potentially have going on, there's a lot of stuff going on. And we need to just have some discussion on those projects and kind of be prioritizing about how they kind of lay out and where the money can go for that. But one of the things that'll come up during that discussion, I want to talk more about Bobby Terrell and his development out there. But I was talking with Dorothy Lanfear about that annexation issue yet, and just sent her those plans of Bobby's 2 weeks ago, and then got a hold of her today and talked about it, and she just said, I will get you a written response on that. And that's kind of where we're at right now. And I would like to urge things along a little bit, but it just doesn't seem like it's moving quickly.
Isn't it kind of their advantage to be annexed into the...
There's good and bad
Not really,
points. It's if they would ever look at development, of course, it would be needed, but I don't know that that's in their plans at all.
So their taxes go right to the county then, is that how that works?
Yeah, if they're in the county right now, of course, they don't pay city taxes. But the unique thing about that is that if you have ag land within the city limits, your taxes is actually just a little bit lower.
Yeah.
So. Other than that, Lakeview hosts Northwest Iowa League on Thursday. Out of Ryan's again. If anybody is able to attend, that'd be terrific. This one's the one that's earlier. Social time starts at 5. Dinner's at 6 though, so if you can still make a 6 o'clock dinner,
And
that's...
that's at 6 o'clock.
Yep.
I'll be there.
I can't be there.
I don't know, have to see how the weather is.
Sure. Yeah.
see what my schedule is, but put me down for now and I'll contact you if I can.
Okay.
You get a good turnout for that?
Yeah, it depends on the weather this
Yeah,
time of year.
this time of year, it depends a lot on the weather.
Yeah.
For
If-
everything, I
It's
think.
nice that it's close.
Yeah, we kinda did that on purpose. We're gonna,
Yeah.
if we're gonna have a meeting, we're gonna have it in
In the
January.
winter.
Close to here.
Right.
Okay, we need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Mola,
Yes.
Stankin,
Yes.
Waltman.
Yep.
Reese.
Yes. And I'll shut the door on the way down.
All right,